and welcome. Today is day 16 of 28 of the Constellation Support Meditation Support Constellations. Welcome to everyone. And everyone has their tabletop quiet space. I don't know if you guys hear the construction going on in my background. Post-its, little piece of paper are fine, and a pen. And I'm going to split my camera. All right. We're going to thank you to Chiaki for suggesting a support in this area. We're going to look at authority and get some support around that, some clarity as well. All right, so we're going to get some focus. And let's write us on a Post-it. And then we're going to draw that arrow. That's the direction in which us is facing in the field. We're going to place us kind of down here, looking out, and place your hand on the piece of paper representing us. And as you do that, you will begin to bring in the information from the field, noticing how us occurs, how us appears. What is the feeling of us? You may be actually seeing people. It could be those around you, and family and friends, acquaintances. Could be us on this Zoom session. And allowing us to morph and reveal itself even more. So it could be us of your geographic area. It could be us of the world. So noticing how us occurs to you. Again, letting it come to the surface. Using your senses. So visually, how does us occur? How does us feel? Is there any interaction among us? And then as we begin to take the next step, or as we continue the constellation, now beginning to notice there's this experience of us internally, and then there's also our experience, how we're relating to outside of us and to each other. Perhaps us is sensing the environment or what's going on right now, noticing that. So we're going to bring in the next part. We're going to call it authority. Writing authority on a Post-it, and then we can draw that arrow up top. And let's look at authority. So we're just going to place it in front of us, wherever it feels right to you. Placing your hand on the piece of paper representing authority, we're going to bring this into the field. The energy and information, resonance, vibration of authority. Noticing how that occurs for you. And we'll just take a moment to notice that coming in. You may be seeing systems, organizations, people representing those organizations. You may be getting a sense of authority over time. The collective, social, perhaps influences, organizations, noticing how that shows up for you. How does it feel? How does authority feel? What's the structure of authority? And perhaps you're seeing recognizing authority in your life in particular as well. So it could be an abstract authority, but also an authority that you recognize in your life. And let's place one hand on authority and one hand on us. And let's feel into that relationship in this way. And perhaps let's also just place your hand on us and see how us reacts when authority comes in. So just standing in the shoes of us. How does us relate to authority? Is there something that us wants to say to authority? Noticing that. And then we can place one hand on authority and one hand on us. And let's look at that relationship now. Noticing if one or the other gets big or small when we do this. You may be sensing something that's going on right now in time. It feels like for some of you, authority is looking around, noticing a movement, and us is in the face of authority right now. So see how that shows up for you. Let's place this next part. We're going to call this next part the curtain. So we'll write the curtain, and we'll also, let's do like a slash veil. And then we can draw this arrow up top. Let's put this curtain veil on top of authority right now. This is what has been covering authority. And let's notice how that feels to have this curtain veil. So just placing your hand on the curtain veil that's on top of authority. Noticing how that appears. So feeling it morph as well. Sensing perhaps it's hiding authority. And then we can place our hand just on us. Let's see how it occurs. Authority occurs to us with this curtain veil on top of it. What do we see that's different now? Or not see? When this curtain veil is over authority, is there a movement that we make? Perhaps it's like a side-to-side movement, kind of looking. What are we looking for? Let's place in the next part right now. We're going to place in the awakening. Writing the awakening on a post-it with that arrow. Let's place the awakening behind authority covered by this curtain veil. And let's place our hand on the awakening, bringing this energy and information, resonance, vibration into the field. Again, noticing how this energy moves throughout or permeates the field. You can also place your other hand on us, just noticing, connecting with this energy even more, the shift, the awakening that is happening right now, the increase in vibrational range, the up-leveling, if you will. And then let's now place our hand on the curtain veil on top of authority. Noticing how, by placing your other hand on the awakening, noticing how the awakening is relating to this curtain veil. Perhaps you're sensing that it's wanting to lift it up, and let's go ahead and do that. it is time now to remove this curtain and veil. Let's lift that up and we'll just place this over here. And then let's feel back into authority once the curtain veil is lifted. How do they feel now without this curtain and veil? Then let's place our other hand on us and let's look at authority without this curtain veil. What do you notice is there for us now? There may be all different types of emotions. There may be demands. I'm sensing a little bit of some anger along with that. So just noticing how that shows up for you. Wanting answers, perhaps. There also could be a turning away from authority of us, looking for something else. And before we take this next step, also feeling into the curtain veil. How did us relate to the curtain veil, and how are we relating to it now that it's removed? It may have been a comfort. It may have occurred as a comfort to some of you, a protection. And if there is a movement for the curtain veil and allowing it to also morph in the field now that it's been removed, now that its purpose has been what it was, its purpose has been morphed, just allowing it to continue to morph. We're going to add the next step right now. We're going to add in truth, writing truth on a Post-it. And then with that arrow up top, let's bring in truth over here. And then let's turn us to face the truth or to look at the truth. And then we'll just first place our hand on truth and let's bring that in. How does truth feel? How does truth occur visually? Is there a voice of truth? A wisdom? How is this truth spoken? How is this information given? And then we can place our hand on us. How does truth occur to us? Is there a sense of relief? Maybe this is what we were looking for. Maybe there's some of us that are not feeling comfortable with the truth. And maybe some of us are pulling the truth to us, finally. Noticing how this shows up for you. So let's place one hand on truth and one hand on us. And if there is that movement to pull truth towards us, go ahead and make that movement. And maybe us, listen to what the communication is. Maybe us is saying, it's good to see you. I finally see you. You've been hidden. I see you now. And what's the sensation us has when we connect with truth? Allowing that information to come to you. Perhaps there's a step from us towards truth. I'm noticing that there may be some movement for some of you to actually move with truth away from authority. Let's feel back into how authority, what happens with authority when truth comes in. What's the movement there? And for your own constellation, please follow that movement. There may be a looking of authority to truth, maybe a looking away and a movement away. Noticing how some of authority may want to look at truth, some may want to turn away. And then you can also feel into the curtain veil. See if there's a movement of the curtain veil. There may be a movement of the curtain veil to actually go to truth. So if that's there for you, go ahead and make that movement. And let's see how the curtain veil is morphed into, or what it's morphed into. Feels like there's, for some of you, a strong desire of the curtain veil to also be connected to truth. What I'm also seeing is that those what's showing up, and it could be not for all of you, but for some of you, is the people or associations who are part of this curtain veil are actually drawn to the truth right now. There's also this healing that I'm sensing. These systems that we're covering, perhaps there were an intermediary in between authority and us. And there's this healing of that right now. So see what's there for you. You can also feel into how that healing associates with the awakening, how it's connected to it, a part of it. Okay, let's go back to us and truth. Feels like we're receiving that right now. You can also go back to authority. See for yourself if authority has a communication. And if it does, we can actually place us in front of authority. Let's look at authority again. Is there a communication from authority to us? Also noticing if authority has shifted, morphed through this uncovering, awareness, and the effect of the awakening. You may notice some within authority are actually standing in integrity. You may also notice those in authority that are not, that are hiding. If it calls to you, this will be the last part we'll do in the constellation. There may be, again, some sort of a divide within authority. So let's actually call this, we'll bring it into the field right now. We'll call it those who stand up. So those within authority, those who stand up. And that means those who actually have integrity with their authority. And let's place them first on authority. So those perhaps who speak the truth. And we'll do this. We'll place those who stand up in front of us. And then we can actually, let's do those who don't. So we'll write on authority. We'll write those who don't. And if it feels appropriate to you, we can cross out authority and just signify authority in this way right now. So we have those who stand up, and let's feel into those who stand up first. And then your other hand on us, let's see those who stand up and connect with them. Are there any messages from them to us and from us to them? How is this relationship different? Is there a sense of the awakening? And you can also feel into truth as well. What is their relationship with truth? And then we can feel into those who don't. Again, noticing if there's a movement. There could be a movement for those who don't to run away, just following that movement, to hide. Wherever that is for you, you can follow that movement. And let's look at those who don't so we can see them clearly. So turning us to those who don't. Let's see them clearly. You may be hearing their voices, and notice your visceral reaction when you see them and hear their voices. Is there a shift in knowing? As we go to this new vibrational range, that's a resonance-based experience of life. So noticing your resonance with those who stand up versus those who don't. And again, noticing your visceral reaction to each. How do you relate to them? All right, so we'll just put us back with truth. Let's just feel into that before we end. Let's connect with truth. Again, receiving any information from truth. Communication between truth. Seeing truth. All right, I think we'll end this here. I would love to hear how that was for you guys. Anyone want to share? Either in the chat box or unmute yourself, please. Kimberly says, this has been an interesting one for me. My relationship with authority was not ever covered by the veil. It was truth that was veiled. Interesting. The authority and the awakening are looking at each other. It feels to me like authority is divine will. It is always playing out through each of us, but our ability to recognize the truth of what's playing out is the block. The awakening is the block, yes. The awakening removes so that truth is free to flow through us. Yes, thank you. Anyone else want to put that? Anyone else want to share? Taryn says truth is welcoming. Yeah. Yeah. Jackie, how was that for you?
It was really good. The veil that was over authority was, for me, it was hiding who they really were.
Mhm.
And once the veil was gone, it seemed like they started to dry up and shrivel up, and they were like, trying to hide some more.
Mhm.
And then I realized later on that authority wasn't as threatening once the veil was gone. And what I want them to be is gentle guidance and support instead of this big bad authority. So
Yeah,
that was my morphing or recycling of authority, hopefully.
awesome. Very, very good. Thank you. All right, I'm gonna stop recording. Okay.